Federal Police Registration in Florianopolis for Foreigners. RNM, CRNM deadlines and how to avoid a mess. I'm Luciano Oliveira, Brasilia attorney and managing partner of Oliveira Lawyers, and I'm here in Florianopolis, Santa Catarina. If you enter Brazil with a long stay visa or you get a residence authorization approved, two different things. For both routes, you still have an additional step that many foreigners underestimate: Federal Police Registration for your RNM card. If you ignore deadlines, you can accrue fines and unnecessary stress in addition to jeopardizing a renewal down the line. Alright, this is general information only, not legal advice, not tax advice. Here is the timeline rule that matters. If you enter Brazil with a long-term visa such as the digital nomad, the retirement or the spousal visa, you have up to 90 days from entry to registering. If your residency authorization was granted while you were already in Brazil, however, think about applying for the digital nomad while spending vacations in Brazil. The registration deadline is then reduced to just 30 days from the publication of your approval. And the challenge nowadays is getting an appointment for registration. Currently, it's not uncommon for some applicants to secure appointments over 60 days down the line when applying from Santa Catarina or Florianopolis. And how to conciliate that fact with the 30-day deadline for those cases in which the foreigner applied for residency while in Brazil. So what we see in practice is that the federal police will most of the time turn a blind eye to the exceeding period of time just because they know there is not enough available spots for the registration. Still, in some cases, people are gonna be fined even though it wasn't their fault. Now, what happens in registration? Remember, first you need to schedule your appointment. You cannot simply show up at the Federal Police Station in Floripa Mall. You first must have to pay for and secure the appointment. After securing the appointment, you need to organize the necessary documents and show up at the scheduled time. The exact documents will depend on which immigration track you are pursuing, but the most common ones across the board are apostilled birth certificate showing your parents' names on it, the hard copy with the original apostille. Number 2, a background check. Remember that for higher-end residencies such as merit-based and retirement, U.S. citizens will need to provide an apostilled FBI background check. Number 3, your original passport, and naturally other documents will apply depending on the immigration track you are pursuing. At the appointment, they collect your data and fingerprints, and you receive your RNM number, also known as the protocolo, which is a provisory version of your resident card. And then the process to issue your actual CRNM card moves forward. Time to get the physical card is typically around 2 months and will vary according to demand. A few practical tips that prevent chaos. 1. Show up with originals and copies. Brazil loves copies. 2. Bring proof of payment of the fees paid during your original application and the fee paid for the appointment as well. Fees can change, but you need the correctly GRU receipt for what applies to your case. 3. Bring proof of address in Brazil. This is almost always required and enforced, and it should be something credible and current. Lease agreements and notarized letters provided by your landlord or friend who is hosting you are examples of acceptable documents. 4. All documents must be translated into Portuguese to be accepted by the Federal Police. Top documents such as your birth certificate and background check should be typically translated by a sworn translator. And listen, there are a few of such specially licensed translators here in Florianopolis, Santa Catarina. 5. For some of the residencies, such as the marriage-based permanent residency, your criminal record certificate should be ideally under 90 days at registration. For other tracks, such as the digital nomad and the retirement, you are usually fine as long as the criminal records were under 90 days when you first apply through whether a Brazilian consulate abroad or via Migrante Web for those of you who applied while physically in Brazil. One last point point about the application process, note that some older resources listed the Federal Police Station in Agronômica. The Agronômica station no longer handles immigration procedures for foreign citizens. The only station providing RNM card registrations for foreign citizens in Florianópolis is the Federal Police Station located on the ground floor of the Floripa Mall in Saco Grande. If you want help coordinating your registration and document prep, schedule a consultation with Oliveira Lawyers. Like this video, subscribe, and I see you in the next one.